This is Vicky, also known as Dragonfly7673. Today is Monday, January 21st. It is about 6:15, and our first Tiggy appearance is here because he's been crawling around my legs, meowing at me. I think on Mondays they forget that I normally work after they have me all weekend. Anyway, Missy was back there being all cute too, so I wouldn't be surprised if she shows up as well. But anyway, I am hoping to keep this one a little shorter just because it was a really long day at work, and so I kind of want some veg time for me. And I'll do this. I have most of the show notes done already, so hopefully everything will process and upload and I can spin. So, last week I recorded on Monday. I didn't actually do any knitting or spinning that night, really. I think I might have knit a tiny bit, but Monday and Tuesday I was still I was feeling better, but it was still a little worn out, so I went to bed, I think 9-ish both days, and read for a while, and then went to bed. Wednesday and Thursday I would knit because I was determined to get clue 3 of the Malice done. So, wrong end, there we go. You can tell that I just started the purple section right here. That's the beginning of clue 4, but all from this purple and this green, that was clue 3. And there was a major increase. I told you last week that this little eyelet row made it increase to 400 some stitches. And so all of this green section pretty much after the eyelet row was knit last week. I think no, I don't remember which days. I know I did spin because I was kind of letting myself like knit and then spin. I don't remember. I finished clue 3 on Friday because I took pictures on Saturday and told myself I didn't have to start clue 4. So I started clue 4 today. So I have the first 4 rows. So one row, 2 back, 3 back. So the first 4 rows are done. I did them today during I had 3 hours worth of conference calls. The first 2 rows were just knit across. The third row was an actual lace row, and I didn't bother putting my stitch markers to line up with the lace repeats, and so I was just trying to like mentally keep track of where I was. Somehow I did not mess up, but it was a lot harder. If I have markers marking, I don't remember what this one is. Shh. This one is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an 10 or 11 row, or 10 or 11 stitch repeat. It doesn't matter. Normally I would block it out into just like something like 20 stitches or 30 stitches. And then if I mess up, I know I messed up somewhere in that 20 or 30, so it's a little more mindless. This one I didn't. I was just trying to keep track of where I was. It worked out fine. I reached the end at the right spot, and when I purled back, I was paying attention to the stitch pattern and making sure it was all correct, and it was. But I don't have any more conference calls this week, so it won't get knit on at work very much. So it'll be in the evenings probably. And that was the only thing I knit on last week because I was just trying to get clue 3 done. Clue 4 is just as wide, if not more, and it has more stitches. So it doesn't increase significantly, but it does have more stitches, you know, from the last glue because of that increased eyelet row. So it'll take longer, but I'll get a chunk of it done this week, and it'll either take 2 or 3 weeks to get done. I'm not too worried if it takes a little longer because it is mostly purple, and purple is the Februari color, so I figure if I get it done in February, it's good for the birthstone along, so I'm okay with that. Actually, it's kind of funny because I actually have several things for the birthstone along because I can finish that. I am planning on, I told you guys I'm planning on doing another snuggle project, which I'm going to do this pattern, but I'm not going to do a long striping. I'm just going to use my purple and blue acrylic until it's gone. So I have that. I have, and the project I actually want to do for February is my jet to lavender yarn with this topless jazz singer shawl, or shawlette. So this is my actual planned one, but the other ones are probably going to end up included because why not? So, as long as we're talking about snuggles and birthstones, let's talk about prizes. Now, I showed you guys last week the yarn for the birthstone along, and because these were a deep stash dive for me, I decided to include Tigger. He just whopped his head too. Are you okay? You need to watch where your head's going. So, since both these prizes were deep stash dive, I decided to add some stitch markers. So, these are Garnet Heart stitch markers to go with the 2 skeins of Plymouth Happy Feet Red. And there are 8 stitch markers. They are from Highland Sheep, which is here, Highland Sheep. And they always send their stitch markers in these cute little tins. So you'll get the tin with it. And there are 8 stitch markers. They're all like this. There's no, there is not a special starting row one. But, so there are 8 stitch markers for the red prize for January. And we've had so many people start posting in the birthstone along. I'm really excited because we've had some more people join the group. We've had a lot of participation, more than we've had with other things. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what Allison and Mom and Tiff and I were kind of talking about, was, you know, getting people involved. And I thank Allison greatly for this idea. So then for February, it's in the same little carton, but this one jammed because I'll show you. There's a piece of cotton that covers them, and it got jammed up, and it did that the first time too, and I didn't pay attention when I put it back together, and I should have. So there's 8 of these stitch markers. These are purple, and they're to go with the lotus flowers, the Buddha base, so it's superwash merino blood flowers colorway, but I thought they matched really pretty. So we also, just so you know, Allison is donating a prize for April and June. Tiff is donating a prize for November, and Mom is donating a prize from October. So I'm going to put all the prizes right here so you can see them. Alright, so you saw January and February, which I just told you about. March, we don't have anything yet, so I will either come up with something, or if somebody has an idea. March is the light blue periwinkle aqua. The jewel is aquamarine. So if anybody has anything that you want to donate, otherwise I will find something. April is going to be the one from Allison that's that black with sparkles in it. It is called You Can't Take the Sky From Me. It's a Firefly reference. And I believe it's Schmutzy Yarns. So that's for April. And then June is the natural month, because that's pearl, and so we decided that we're going to do natural colors, bears, whites, off-whites, or natural sheepy colors. So it's kind of your undyed month, and so that one's going to be the other one, which is the kind of off-white, and that's called Weeping Angel, which is a Doctor Who reference. So those two are from Allison. And then October, if you remember, is our wild card month, where we decide that we found that opals can be all sorts of colors, so we decided to make it the wild card month. Well, at the craft store where my mom works, they had the mug with the all different color sheep on it. And so she decided to bounce off of that, and she created a little prize package that I just think is so cute. Tiff and I both loved it. And Allison liked it too when I showed her. So it has the multicolored mug, and then it has sheep tape measure and sheep stitch markers and funny care labels. So that's October. And then Tiff is donating a skein for November. Let me look it up. I have it up here so I can tell you. Oh, it's Spinning Fates Tula, and it's a fingering 80% merino, 20% nylon. It's called I Triple Dog Dare You. It was a reference to the Christmas Story movie, and it's, golds and gold, oranges, browns, and we figured for November, the topaz month, which is our oranges, golds, yellows, rusts, that it was a perfect one. So she is donating that out of her stash. And she said that she will, by November, she will make stitch markers that coordinate with it. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have half of the months have prizes for them. So, that's all the birthstone along. So, and I think I mentioned, but at the top of the main birthstone along, I did write all of the months, their jewel, and what colors, what knitting colors we're doing that month. And remember, you can be already working on something and finish it that month. So, then the other prizes we have were for the Snuggle Project. And I have 2 pictures. They're the same pictures I posted last time, and then I'll show you. Okay, so we have the kitty prize. Now this is from Bead Marker. It's in the show notes. There are kitty stitch markers. And then this project bag. It's a drawstring bag. I gotta tell you, the inside has all sorts of names of cats, which is actually the background here too. There's cats, and then there's the breeds. And then the inside has cat breeds. And I don't know what she did, but this is quilted. It's squishy. It's squishy. It feels really durable. It stands up on its own. So this is the kitty prize. Yes, it's the kitty prize. It's not for kitties. And then I received the bag for the dog prize. So, this is called Puppy Love. This is from Bag and Bags. which is also an Etsy shop, and it's also linked in the show notes. So it's got the colorful puppies on the outside. It's got colorful puppy print on the inside. Really long loop. And a matching zipper. The stitch markers are not here yet. I didn't realize that they were coming from the Philippines. They will be here. They should be here next week. She said it usually takes about 2 weeks to go from the Philippines to the States. So she shipped them last week. She's been great contact. They're from Bead Passion. I didn't realize that they were coming from the Philippines because the shipping wasn't very much. So it never occurred to me to even look. And I'm kind of glad, since they are, that I did it now, because next week, there is a shipping rate hike for the post office. And I know some of the indie sellers for bags and yarn are worried about it because our letter stamp price is not going up very much. It's going up a penny, from 46 to 47 cents. If you have the forever stamps, it's no big deal. But the package prices are going up, especially for international packages. So I know there's a lot of people worried about that. Because of that, I'm going to try and keep the prizes small-ish. Not in value, in weight. Because when I shipped that big bag to Willow Fairy, it was expensive. I mean, I was more than happy to ship it, and then she felt bad, and she actually sent me money to help cover shipping, which she did not have to do, because that was my choice. But anyway, it was expensive, and I would hate to think of how much it would be now with the new shipping rates. So we're going to try and keep all the packages light. And that's another reason why Allison is going to ship the prizes that she has directly from where she lives in Australia to the winner, because we figured there was no point in her shipping to me and me shipping out and just doubling all the shipping costs. So I really thank her for that. I mean, if she was going to pay for the shipping to send it to me anyway, that's fine. So that was just kind of a tangent. If you notice your Etsy sellers, their shipping prices have gone up, it's not their fault. They can't eat that cost forever. So, and my Birthstone Project. I'm sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. My Birthstone Project, and it's because it's not up here. I did spin. And Saturday on ABC Family, there was a Disney musical marathon. And it was kind of funny. They kept advertising that it was starting at 3 Central, but it actually started at, I would consider it started at 10:30 because at 10:30 was Mary Poppins. What all was on? Mary Poppins, Lady and the Tramp, Hercules, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, and then there was the new Guardians movie with the owls. I didn't watch that one because when it came out in the theater, best friend kind of wanted to see it, so I just recorded that one. Plus that one was on at 10:30 at night, and I was not up for that. So anyway, they did that, and then also on Sunday they did Lion King. But as far as I was concerned, from 10:30 in the morning until midnight, they were showing nothing but Disney movies. So I spun all day on my Gale's Art Alpaca and Silk, and I got all the singles done. And then yesterday, I started plying it. I am Navajo plying it. This is thinner than anything I've done. I Navajo plied for about 3 hours, and I think I have about half the bobbin done. But right now, my plied bobbin is on the spinning wheel, and the singles are on the Lazy Kate, and I kind of had to move the whole contraption and hope that the cats wouldn't get into it, and thank goodness best friend was over because he had to help me. In the past, when I've plied, I used the Lazy Kate on the spinning wheel, and if I didn't finish, I just moved the spinning wheel and it was all together. The last couple times when I plied using the detached Lazy Kate, the one that I got from Alexandra Crafts, which I love, I really love it for Navajo plying, I finished the bobbin and I didn't have to move everything. I just sat there until I finished. Well, this was the first time I tried to move everything and kind of went, I don't know how to do this without making a big old mess. And so best friend like picked up the spinning wheel at the same time that I picked up the Lazy Kate, and we moved it all over together, and I was glad he was here. But anyway, I'm going to show you pictures of the singles and the Navajo plying as it's going so far. So, the reason I like Navajo plying with the detached Lazy Kate is I can actually put it fairly far behind me. And when you're Navajo plying, you're holding it and you're making a loop and you're reaching back and grabbing. There are better videos out there, but you're reaching back and grabbing. Well, the longer you can make that loop, the longer, to me, the better it looks. You're not having all these little short pieces. When I was doing it with the attached Lazy Kate, I could only go so far without making a tangled mess. By putting this way behind me, I have some built-in tension and I can reach way back and make long loops. I like the way it's turning out. And I decided to Navajo ply it. Well, 2 reasons. One, I was being lazy and I didn't feel like taking the bobbin off when I thought I had approximately 2 ounces, because I didn't want to come upstairs and weigh my fiber and figure out if I really had 2 ounces, because I had just sort of split the braid in half. But also, I like the look of Navajo plying. I like it makes a more round yarn. So I won't get as much yardage as I would if I was 2-plying it, but I'm okay with that because I like the type of yarn it makes. No, you guys know I will sometimes 2-ply as well, so it kind of depends on my mood, and I've been trying to think of that more ahead of time. And this one I had thought about even before I reached that halfway point. I had been going back and forth and went, I really think I'm going to Navajo ply this, so I just kept going. So that should be finished. There's no reason why that wouldn't be finished this week unless, the zombie flu hits again. So next I have a couple choices because I got some stuff in the mail. And actually I'm going to get one more thing in the mail, but I don't have it yet. A while back, Heather, Buchos Babe, Highland Handmaids, Fiberista Files. Her real name's Heather. Her online name is Buchos Babe. Her podcast is the Fiberista Files, and her shop is Highland Handmaids. So she's all of those things. Anyway, she had a colorway called Dragonfly. And of course I looked at it because Dragonfly, duh. And I really liked the colorway. And I was like, I shouldn't get it right now. And it was actually there for a little bit. And I was like, but I decided, no, I'm not going to get it right now. Well then, ever since then, I've been kind of kicking, I think it was right when I was doing a bunch of stuff for like Rhinebeck, where I had made purchases. I kept kicking myself going, I really liked that color. Not just because of the name, but I really liked that color. And I kept waiting for her to dye it again. Well, she wasn't dyeing it again. So finally, I sent her an email saying, it's not a hurry, but when you are dyeing, if you want to dye Dragonfly, could you save me one? So she actually dyed a custom order for me. This is Dragonfly, and I'll post a picture in a second. But it goes from this kind of dark blue, dark violety blue, to a lavender, to a magenta, to this bright pop of orange, and then back again. And I didn't tell her which fiber, so she did it out of English Shetland, which I don't have any of that in my stash before now. Then she had an update, and I went, well, as long as I'm paying for shipping, maybe I should look and see what else she has. And I've been liking this color too. It's called FTW, which in internet speak is for the win. And This is 40% superwash merino, 40% regular merino, and 20% silk. It is really soft. And this one, I don't know what she calls it. I think it's calling it like spot dyeing or something. But it's got bright blues and light blues and peachies and magenta. And on this fiber, it just takes really bright. And there's some natural color mixed in. It's gorgeous. So I got those. I also ordered fiber from Lori Yu. I met her through the High Fiber Diet Kagi TM's audio podcast group. And I really like her. And she just opened an Etsy shop. I believe it's called North Cabin Fiber Arts. I'll link it. I don't have my fiber from her yet. She lives in Michigan. I assumed that it would go from Michigan to Illinois to Milwaukee. It didn't. It went from Michigan to Pennsylvania to Illinois. I'm assuming it'll come to Milwaukee eventually. Today there's no mail because of Martin Luther King Day. So I think it probably would have been here today, maybe, but there was no mail today. Anyway, I ordered a really pretty braid from her. I've been trying not to order a whole lot. I have a lot of stash. In fact, I went through the other day and, not counting the one that's not here yet, I have 50 items marked as hand spun. Now, 2 of those are already spun and given away because one was for Tiff and one was for Michelle Knit a Little of the 3 Stitches podcast from the Susan G. Komen. And some of those are already spun. But I went through all of my hand spun and actually tagged it with spun or unspun because lately, sometimes I have so much to spin. I'll pull up my hand spun, and I hand it to best friend, and I tell him to pick something, and then I have to tell him. But if it's already yarn in the picture, then don't pick it. And sometimes that confuses him. I don't know why. He's got it now. The first time I told him, he looked at me like I was crazy. Now he understands it. But it's a lot easier now that I tagged it spun or unspun because you can filter on your tags. Beautiful as these are, I think I'm going to spin my fiber optic next. This is the Rouge Violet Cerulean. This is the one that was for the Knit Girls. And they are actually having a spin along at the moment for that colorway. And I don't remember if their spin along is just January or if it was January, February. If it's just January, I may change my mind because I can't get both braids. Because remember, I bought 2 of these so I could 2-ply them together and have 8 ounces. I don't think I can spin 8 ounces by the end of January. If it goes January, February, then I could do it. And then it could also count for part of February because there's a significant purple in it. I think that's what I'm going to do next. Who knows? I may totally change my mind. Because spinning is one of those things that I kind of gravitate sort of towards something. I will tell you I'm a little sick of the pure red right now. So, because there's just no change. Anyway. Okay. Oh, I have something I brought up to show you. It's not a new project. I just thought it was kind of I wore this today because it's freezing here. We started out this morning at 10 degrees, and that was at 6 a.m., and that was the warmest it was all day. It was 3 degrees at lunchtime. So, I got my really thick scarf. Now, this scarf is interesting. It has a story, which is why I decided to show you, even though it's a very old project. This was called a traveling scarf. We had a group of us, probably a dozen. I think there was 24 people, and then we split into 2 groups, so we had about 12 people in the group. I could count this and figure it out, but I'm not going to. And everybody had a color of yarn. My color was this one. It's this blue, green, gold. And this was organized by our local yarn shop. all of them had they were the same brand of yarn. They were from a local dyer who dyed specifically for us for this project. So I started, it's just a 2x2 rib, and I knit, I don't know, 8 inches or something like that. And I left, and you knit with 2 strands. When you're done, you leave a long piece of 1 strand. And the next person takes it. Now the next person had this kind of red, olive, gold, orangey color. Now they took they started it with 1 strand of mine and 1 strand of, because it was that long strand I left, and they took their 1 strand and a strand of theirs, and they knit them together until they ran out of mine. And then they knit with 2 strands of theirs. When they got 6 to 8 inches done, they left a long strand, and the next person knit on it. So whenever you finish, so while I started mine, I then took it and picked up another one, until eventually we all knit on each other's. And you always blended so it doesn't have a super sudden jog. Some of them are more dramatic than others, like this one. And some of them are real subtle, like this one. So, anyway, and then I used, in the very end, I used my color again and just knit till I had no more. Just because I liked having the same color on the ends. And I just had this weird amount left anyway. While we were doing this, because it was called a traveling scarf, there was also a diary that traveled with the scarf. And you would write notes in it about where you were while you were knitting it. So like I, wrote, hey, I was at Stitch and Pitch, or I went, to the movies, or whatever I did while I was knitting on it. And I got a diary back that told me all about where this scarf had gone. And also a lot of people, because you had a project bag of whatever kind, you just brought one and you got it back at the end. A lot of people put little goodies in there too, like a tape measure or stitch markers or something. So you kind of collected little goodies too. It was really fun. I did get a little sick of 2x2, but honestly, because it was finger and weight held double, it didn't take very long to do your 8 inches. Then the only hard part was near the end, was trying to make sure that we, Janice, the yarn shop owner, she was trying to make sure that everybody had gotten each other. So sometimes you would drop one off, but you wouldn't actually be able to pick one up for a little while, and then she'd let you know. But she's pretty close by me, so it wasn't too bad. But it was just a lot of fun, and I almost always get comments. It's really, really thick, and I tend to wear it, I fold it in half, and then I put it like this around my neck, still folded in half, and I grab the loose ends and loop them through the hole and wear it like this. It gives a lot of bulk right here to keep me warm, but it doesn't add a lot of bulk underneath my jacket. So, somebody I used to work with was watching me try and wrap it around one day, and she said, "Oh, you should try this." And she took it off me and flipped it over and wrapped it around, and I went, "Okay, thank you." And I've pretty much worn this that way since. Okay, that's everything. I'll post a link to my project page because it talks about that. That one was something I decided when I got home today. So I think you saw everything. I will post a picture of the Malice shawl because I didn't stop earlier and post it in. So I'll post that at the end. And a silly picture of Missy because she's just a ham. And I am going to go start processing and hopefully get some spinning done or get some plying done. Talk to you later. Bye.